Great. Good morning again, everyone. Today is the third and last day of the 3-day Property VA training course. I shall run through some housekeeping again, and afterwards we'll begin today's lesson. I will be sharing my screen in a minute. Fantastic. So housekeeping, just mute your mics, please. I think everyone's mic is mute. If you have any questions, do type them in the chat box. And you have stayed until the third day. Fantastic. Thank you all. Before we begin today's original lesson plan, I actually want to review what we discussed yesterday. I understand there were lots of things, and I was probably going a bit too fast towards the end because we were going a bit over time. So what I'm going to do is recap the due diligence calculators that we discussed yesterday. So yesterday, we calculated yields, ROI, money left in the deal, and cash flow. So those were the 4 calculations that we were doing yesterday. And I mentioned yesterday that I actually use a spreadsheet to do this. And I wanted you guys, before you can use a spreadsheet, to be able to see what the formula is. And then later on, you can type it in a spreadsheet. But what I've realized yesterday is that I think it's better if I just send you guys my spreadsheet, the one that I use, and then you can calculate these calculations with me while using the spreadsheet. So in the chat box, I have typed in a download link for yesterday's slides. So if everyone can look at the chat box again, because what I'm going to do is I'm also going to be typing in another download link, and this time it's for the due diligence spreadsheet that I use. Okay, so please, if you can download that to your machine, then you can do the step-by-step calculations with me. Okay, so I am going to do that in a second. So please check your chat boxes again, guys. There should be another message from me with a download link for the due diligence spreadsheet that I use. And hopefully this will help speed up and clarify what we were discussing yesterday in terms of making calculations to carry out due diligence for whatever property the landlord is wanting you to compute for. I need a thumbs up from everybody so that I know that you have downloaded the spreadsheets, actually just the one spreadsheet. Okay, when everyone has downloaded, then I can proceed. While you're waiting for that, I'm just going to type in Rightmove again. Has everyone got their due diligence calculator sheet? I have a few people doing a thumbs up. There's a lot of you who's not raising their thumbs. I hope you don't have any problems with downloading the sheets. Okay, I shall proceed in any case. Okay, someone's writing in the chat box. Okay, people are having it now. Fantastic. Okay, so when you open your due diligence calculator, it should look something like this. Okay, what you've got here are separate boxes with equations. Okay. At the very bottom is the easiest one to calculate, which is the yield. All you need to know is the annual rent. You don't need to work out the cash flow. And the money left in the deal, yeah, that's fine. ROI, which is the cash flow this time, and then money left in the deal. Guys, I'm very sorry. Can you actually change that to done up valuation, not money left in the deal? Okay. So at the very bottom, you've got the box that says yield. You need to change that to done up valuation. Okay. Let's delete that. Done up valuation. Okay. So what we're going to do is go back to Rightmove, find the property to use for the exercise for today. Okay, so we're on Rightmove, and for example, we are going to find a property in Rotherham. Rotherham is in South Yorkshire. We are going to find a terrace property. We'll find one that's between 2 and 3 bedrooms and a maximum of 90,000. Okay. When you're in the UK and you visit websites, you always have lots of these pop-up things, which are quite annoying. I'm not so sure if you see the same pop-ups when you're in the Philippines, but in the UK, we have them because of privacy laws. Right, here we go. So for example, let's choose, I am gonna say the oldest listed up here, because we want to be choosing the properties which we think and we assume have sellers who are the most motivated. Okay, gosh, this one was added in 2016 and I wonder why it still hasn't been sold. 2017. Okay, we are gonna go to this property, which is a 2-bedroom terraced house for sale in Albion Road, Rotherham. It was listed in 2016. 4 years later, it still hasn't been sold. Let's find out why. Just close lots of pop-ups here. Okay, so we've got this property which is on the market for £70,000. It looks like Rightmove has changed their layout overnight. This is interesting. This isn't the Rightmove that we saw yesterday, but here we are. So we've got here £70,000 on a property that's in Albion Road, Rotherham. Okay, so I'm gonna open my notepad so that we can type in our notes here while we do our calculations. Okay, so how many bedrooms was this? 2 bedrooms. Okay, you can see, guys, they've changed things quite a bit. They now no longer have the address at the top. It's a little bit trickier to look for where the information is, but here we are. It's a 2-bed terrace property. So 2-bed terrace, and this is in Albion Road, and it's asking for 70,000. Now we will need to know comparables. So the comparables that we need to know are sold house prices. The other comparables that we need to know would be how much it will rent for. And for simplicity's sake, we are going to rent this out as a single buy-to-let. Okay, so the entire property for one family or one household unit to live in as their main residence. Okay, single buy-to-let. Okay, so I hope you can still remember how we check for comparables for sold house prices is on Rightmove to go onto house prices. Okay, I'm going to do a right click on this one so that we don't lose this page. So we're going to go sold house prices, and we're going to say Albion Road, Rotherham, and type in list view. And we are going to say just terrace properties. So comparables, we need to do it like for like. We're going to say the last 2 years. Hopefully we'll have enough information. Last 5 years. Okay. So we have here, it's obvious why it hasn't sold for the last 4 years. It's because it's overpriced. This one sold for 50,000. This one sold for 30,000, and this one is 39,000. And in the meantime, it's asking for 70,000. Okay. So actually, I'm going to say that the comparables for this one is £50,000. All right. So for buy to let, we need to go not to the for sale page, but for the to rent page. You can either go back to the main home page. Okay, let's just let that load. We type in Rotherham and then click on to rent. Or we go to the rent page and rent tab on the nav bar at the top of Rightmove's page and click on property to rent. You'll see a similar page come up, and we're going to type in Rotherham. Now, when you're doing sold house price comparables, it's important that the listings that you're looking at is as close as possible to the property in question. So if it's in the same street, that's even better. But at the very least, about a quarter mile around the property in question. When you're looking for rent price comparables, it's okay to look at the entire city, the entire town, because unlike sold house prices, rent prices are generally consistent in a much broader area, search area. So in this case, I only typed in Rotherham, South Yorkshire. I didn't type in the street name. Whereas earlier when I was looking for sold house prices, I typed in just a street name, and thankfully there were enough comparables around for me to be able to say that like for like, the market valuation is going to be at this price. Okay. So here we are. We are now going to look at similar comparables, like for like properties for rent in Rotherham, South Yorkshire. So we can determine how much a property like this will rent out for. Number of bedrooms, we did say it was a 2-bed. So minimum 2, maximum 2, so that we only look at the rent prices of 2-bedroom properties in Rotherham. Now it was a terrace house. I'm going to include, select houses in there. I'm going to include to let so I can see what properties have been let for. And I'm going to click on find properties. So we actually have here 38 search results. So that's a good number to be choosing from. If I select only terrace property so that we do a more definite like for like comparison and press done. 475, 475, 500, 525, 450, 600. I am gonna say, if I type in Albion, what was it again? Albion Road. No. What I'm trying to do, guys, is to see if we can narrow the search results a little bit, because when I'm going here, which is fine, it's only 25 results, I see a huge discrepancy. Like this is 475, and then I'm looking at 505 to 5 and even 600. So I'm trying to see if there are pockets within Rotherham that are cheaper or more expensive than the average. I am gonna say probably £500 on this one. Okay. So what we're doing is not a um, it's it's an it's as close as an educated guess as possible. If you want to be super thorough about everything, you can take all of the rent amounts here and then get an average. But I think just by browsing through this quickly, I can see rental prices that are anywhere between 475 to about £600. So I think it's a fair estimate to just say I'm going to assume that on average I can command £500 per contract month for rent in this area. All right. So now we've got here our details. So we have a 2-bed terrace property in Albion Road, that's in Rotherham, for £70,000. It's asking for £70,000, but actually, with looking at comparables, we can see that it's probably really only worth £50,000. That's the reason why it's not sold since being listed 4 years ago. That is an extremely long time to wait for a property to sell. Okay. Comparables, we are assuming and using an educated guess that more or less it's going to be £500 per contract month. The landlord is going to be using this for a single buy to let, and so that's the only rent comparables that we're looking for. We are not going to go on spare room for this instance to look at how each room will rent out for, because all we're going to do is rent the entire property for one household unit. So I am going to now open the due diligence calculator. You can watch me do this first, guys, and then I'm going to give you another property as an exercise to do some calculations on your own. So for the people who just joined, if you check out the chat box, there should be a download link, 2 download links there. One is for yesterday's slide in PDF, and the other download link is the due diligence calculator spreadsheet that will look like the spreadsheet that you see on your screen right now. Okay, so watch me first, guys. Then I will give you another exercise for you to do this alongside with me. Okay, so we have here the boxes on the left are the figures that you will need to find out first before you can enter the numbers on the right. Okay, so this is the notepad that we opened earlier. We have determined that the done-up valuation on this property, I'm just going to do this for a second. So we can have them side by side. Okay. Okay, so our done-up valuation on this property is 50,000. Okay, this is what we determined that the done-up valuation is. We are going to assume that there's no refurb done to this property. It is as it is. We buy it and we rent it out straight away. Okay, the loan to value of this property, we are going to assume, remember, this is an assumption because this is the industry standard, that if you want to get a loan on this property, on any property in the UK, you use a 75% loan to value. That means to say 25% is your own money, your own deposit, 75% is the bank's loan to you. Okay, so a loan amount is going to be at 37,500. Okay, because we are not doing a refinancing calculation in this instance, we just want to buy this property, not do it up and rent it out straight away. Therefore, there's no change in the values that we're putting up here. So the purchase price and the done-up valuation for this exercise is going to be the same. Okay, so the deposit that we need is going to be 25% of 50,000. We are going to go like that. Refurb cost, we're just going to say 0 for the time being. I'm keeping it simple for the time being, guys, okay? New loan amount, that is going to be that one. Original loan to pay off, it's going to be this one. Original outlay is exactly the same as that because we didn't spend anything else. Okay, so that is to say our deposit is the money that's left in the deal because we haven't pulled it out. Okay, annual cash flow and rent is gonna be, guys, our rent is £500 a month. Let's not do the ROI for the time being because we haven't worked out the cash flow yet. So annual rent is equal to 500 multiplied by 12 months. So that's £6,000. The done-up valuation again remains at £50,000. I don't know why that says ROI. It's actually supposed to say yield. Okay, we've got a 12% yield on this property. In terms of ROI, we need to calculate the cash flow, and the cash flow is going to be, we are going to assume on this one, let's go back to Rightmove and find out what the monthly mortgage is. It's amazing. They've completely changed what this looks like from yesterday. Yesterday, we were able to see the mortgage amount, and today we are not able to see that. Oh, here it is. £280. That's fine. So the cash flow in this one will be 500, which is the monthly rent, less the mortgage. That's one of the expenses coming out of, no, actually, remember, we're actually only buying it for 50,000, and our deposit we said was 12. What did we say it was? 12,500. So we have here £167 a month. Other monthly expenses is, I'm gonna put it at 10%. So £50. Okay, so it's gonna be, okay, 500 less 167 less 50. Okay, so that's the cash flow per month multiplied by 12. I hope I'm not too fast using Excel sheet. I'm, like I said on day one, I'm assuming that you guys are proficient and knowledgeable and comfortable using Excel. So I just did a annual cash flow using the monthly rent, less the monthly mortgage coming out, less an estimated 10% monthly expenses coming out, okay? So, and multiply that by 12 to make it 1 year. So you've got the cash flow at 3,396. Money left in the deal. So in this instance, money left in the deal was simply the deposit that the landlord has paid for in order to obtain a mortgage to buy this property. Okay, so in this instance, we've got an ROI, a decent ROI, I think so, at 27.17%. Okay. Some landlords will not buy a property that's less than 30% ROI. Some landlords are more than happy as long as it's higher than any bank interest rate that they can get, okay, from a bog standard high street bank in the UK. So as I mentioned, was it yesterday or the day before? Right now, the highest interest rate you can get if you left your money in a deposit in a savings account is something like 1 to 2% a year. So that's an incredibly low interest rate. So right now, if this ROI was at 27%, I think any landlord is going to be very happy to have a return of his money that he's left to buy this property, which is 12,500. He has a return of 27%. Okay. Now, however, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Rightmove and find another property, a property that we can buy at a discount, that we have a refurb needing to it, and that after the refurb we can have a done up valuation that's higher than what we bought the property for. Okay. I hope you guys can follow me, or I hope you're following me pretty easily and I'm not going too fast. If you feel like it, you can play around with the calculator with me as I go along. If not, you can still watch me, because we're going to do another exercise wherein I am going to tell you what to look for, okay? So let's go back to Rightmove. In fact, we're going to use Zoopla. So that, because I like using Rightmove because that's what I'm used to using. However, it's good for me to use Zoopla so that you guys can also see how I look around for things on Zoopla. Okay, accept all cookies. We are going to find a property in, let me see. Let's look for a property in Cambridge this time. Okay, Cambridgeshire. Minimum price, I'm not going to say. Maximum price. Properties in Cambridge are quite definitely more expensive right now. 200,000. It's probably even more than that, maybe. I am going to say 300,000. Property type, we are just going to go with houses. Bedrooms, 1+. Advanced search options. Sort by, let's go for most reduced. Oh, this is nice for Zoopla to have that option. That's actually quite nice, because in Rightmove, you don't get this option. You get the option to show like the oldest one or most recent. Oh, but they don't have oldest one. Okay, most reduced, that's fine. Added anytime. Keywords. We can use, I'm going to teach you a tip, guys. Keywords would mean that there's an option for them to find words within the listings that might help you. Like, for example, if I'm going to type in here swimming pool, it will prioritize listings that have the words swimming pool within the listing, okay? But for property investors, the words that they like to type in here is in need of. Now, the words in need of doesn't really mean anything as such on its own, but in general, when you see the words in need of, it usually is followed by the words in need of modernization, in need of refurbishment, in need of repairs. So if I type in need of, I am hoping that they will show me listings of properties that are in a state of disrepair, okay? I don't want any new homes. I don't want shared ownership. I don't want retirement homes. Okay, are there any filters that we need to type in here? Okay, I'm gonna search. Click the search buttons. Okay, thank you for pasting the links again. Who was that? Was that Annalyn? Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, so this is the search results that I have. It says no results found, probably because it's quite expensive in Cambridge. Okay, let's have a look here. Offers over. Okay. This was last reduced in 2019. That's an interesting property. Okay. Last reduced, so it's been reduced. Guide price reduced. I'm gonna look at this property. It looks the most interesting to me. Okay. Let's look at something else. Reduced again. Guide price offers over. Okay. I'm looking for houses that look ugly, that look like they are in disrepair. I want to see properties that I think I might be able to get a discount from, okay? Because as an investor, we're not here to buy beautiful properties. We're here to buy properties that we can get a discount of and then be able to increase the value. Okay. What is wrong with this property? Doesn't look, I mean, okay, so that's an old kind of radiator. That's an old fireplace. But apart from the old fireplace, it doesn't look particularly okay. Old fittings. All right. Okay. It's probably Cambridgeshire is a hard market to get into because property prices are quite expensive. But for the purpose of this exercise, we can see that yes, the kitchen looks old, so we can improve on that. The interior looks neutral enough, but let us say we can dress this property up even better. We can replace some of these fixtures to make it look more modern, and the bathroom, we can definitely make this look amazing rather than this tired looking room that it is right now. Okay, so I will say yes, let's look at this property as a project. So I'm gonna take my notepad again and type in some notes here. So this is High Street, CV24. This is not in Cambridge City Centre. Okay, so its asking price is offers over 220,000. Okay, so what are the details? It's a 2-bed. We are gonna need to find out comparables in terms of sold house prices and in terms of rent. Okay. This is Zoopla, guys, so it's slightly different from Rightmove. I am simply going to click on market stats to see what we've got here. Average estimated value for a house in CB4 is 331,265. Fine. We don't know. We don't know if this is an exact figure here, so we're going to type that in for the time being. Average sale price 322. Rental opportunities. Oh, this is nice. Thanks, Zoopla. Rent 979. So let's say we want to rent it out quickly. Okay, so we don't want people to have to think about it. We say we'll, instantly give a discount, 950. All right. Recent sales nearby. We've got, okay, detached house that sold for 435. This is in the same street, okay? Actually, Zoopla is looking like a nicer website to go to, okay? Okay, it already says here, within the last 12 months, within the last year, these are the properties that have been sold nearby. Again, remember, this is High Street in Cottenham CB24. That means these are properties on the same street. I don't know if they are the same sort of property, but it says here detached house, detached house. So I'm gonna click on recent sales in a second. Was this a detached property? It's a semi-detached house, okay. See all recent sales. Any property type. I'm gonna click on semi-detached. I want to see what the more true comparables are. Okay, house prices in CB24. So it's not precisely the same street as High Street, but it is in the same sort of first part of the postcode, which is CB24. We've got here estimate. I want to see sold house prices. I don't want to see estimate. Okay, sorry guys, I'm just trying to figure out how Zoopla works because these don't like sold house prices. It's an estimate. Okay, sale price, right? Okay. 310, 312 last sale, but at 2008, so that's actually 12 years ago. It could be more now. Okay, last 12 months. I don't know why it doesn't say sales in the last 12 months. 222 sales, but how come I can't see them? Okay, I guess this is it. 361, 207. This is a 3-bed. Ours is a 2-bed. 207. I can't see. I think what's nice about Rightmove is that I can see pictures, whereas here I can't see pictures. I actually don't know if what I'm looking at are true comparables. So I'm gonna go back to Rightmove just to check on sold house prices. CB24. Okay, all years, I want to say last 2 years. I only want to see semi-detached. Okay. So these are what the houses look like. 350, 605, 350. Okay, I am, the house prices seem to be kind of all over the place, but what I can see as the, what do you call it, median, is that the numbers that keep repeating are not the numbers in the 600s or the 400s, but the numbers in the 300,000 mark, okay? 350, 350, 360, 315, 285, which is a bit on the lower end, so that's fine. There's even a 275 here. So I am going to say that the comparables is probably going to be on the 300,000 mark, okay? I don't think it's a low end valuation. I think at 300,000 pounds, it's gonna work out fine, because if it says here asking prices offers over 220,000, it's been on there for over a year. It's already been reduced. I don't think they want a further discount than what they're asking for. And if we want to be able to get this property, we are gonna have to give a little bit in terms of what the vendor is asking for. So I am gonna say that we get a sale agreed at 225,000 pounds, okay? And that we have, let's say, a refurb cost of about maybe 5,000 pounds, because the property did not look extremely distressed. In contrast, it probably looked pretty okay. So I want to say we will need some kind of modernization and updating that will cost 5,000 pounds. Now, like I said, guys, the refurb cost, it's not for you to determine what that is. It's most likely the landlord will give you some figures, okay? And to say, can you type in no more than 5,000 or 20,000, whatever it is that the landlord will give you in terms of a refurb cost, okay? So we've got here our calculator again. You might want to do this calculation with me. Okay, so when I say comparables, I mean the done up value, okay? Oh, yeah, sorry, I did put it here. Rent, okay? So what do we have here, guys? We have a property that we're buying for 225 that will need a 5,000 pound refurb. The comparables are that after refurb, it can command a price of, a value of 300,000 pounds. The rent that we can get from this property is 950. What I'm going to do is I am going to duplicate this sheet so that we can go back to this later on. Okay. So we've got here done up valuation 300,000. It will automatically calculate that if I assume, and it's good, it's okay for you to assume that the loan to value is at 75%. The purchase price we have here is at 220,000. Oh, sorry, 225. Okay, that means the original loan amount that we're getting from the bank, if we buy it for 225,000 and with a 75% loan, is going to be 168,750. This means that the landlord needs to have somewhere around 56,000 pounds in his pocket just to buy this property with a 25% deposit. And we have assumed that that this property will need very minor refurb at about £5,000. That means to say this landlord will need to fork up over £60,000 just to buy this property. Now, for a true calculation, the landlord actually will also need to take into consideration taxes, the cost of the solicitors, the cost of estate agents, or the cost of bank transfers or money transfers, for example. But we are doing a kind of pre-purchase due diligence for the landlord, okay? Total outlay is at 61,250. Now we've got here new loan amount. New loan amount should be that one. Original loan, oh wait, original loan to pay off was this one. Yes, it's 168, 750. Original outlay was this one, 61,250. Money left in the deal, that is to say, this is money that the landlord, okay, so original outlay, new, okay, we've got here, money left in the deal is £5,000. Okay, annual, okay, remember this is from the other calculations, so that's probably not correct. Annual rent, we are going to go for 950 multiplied by 12. So 950 is the rent that Zoo plus S we can command on this property. Done up valuation is at, what did we say? 300,000. We've got a very low yield here, guys. 3.80 yield. Okay, in terms of return of investment, and this might give you a completely different picture, we've got here a, let's see if Zoopla does a mortgage calculation for us. Okay, approximate costs per month. Okay, so price, interest rate, deposit. No, what did we say the deposit was? 50, 56,250. Okay, purchase price was at 225. Interest rate, that's fine. Okay, 715 per month. A lot less, maybe something like a 10% monthly expense figure. Okay, so we've got here annual cash flow is 950 less an estimated mortgage of 715 less 95 multiplied by 12, 1,000. So the annual cash flow is not massive, it's 1,680, but the money left in the deal is actually pretty low, which is at £5,000. The reason why there's only £5,000 left in the deal on this property compared to the cheaper property, which is at 12,500, is because the difference between the done-up valuation on this property, which is 300,000, versus what you bought it for, which was at 225 plus a refurb of £5,000, meant that you could pull out just based on the done-up valuation, you can pull out a lot more money, get it out of like the property. You recycle that property because you refinanced it. So in terms of yield, this doesn't look like a property that has a high yield. However, if the property investor is looking in terms of return of investment, I'd say this isn't such a bad property. In terms of ROI, this is a better property than other one. Okay, guys, I need to emphasize and I need to repeat, you are not going to be the one making the decision for the property investor, okay? They delegate these tasks to you, but it's not to say that they delegate the responsibility to you, okay? So you're not making any decisions here. This is up to the landlord to decide, yes, I am going to choose this property over this other one, okay? So we have a few minutes left before we can take a break. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is for you to do some calculations with me. We are gonna use Zoopla again. What we're gonna do is we are going to choose a different city, a different town, and you're gonna do some calculations with me, okay, guys? So we'll go back to Zoopla's main page, home page. We are gonna find a property in, let's say we are going to find a property in Wakefield, maybe Leeds. We're going to find one in Leeds. Okay. No, in fact, we are going to find one in Sheffield. It's a smaller town, so we can focus on just a small area. Okay, maximum price. What we want to look for are kind of very cheap properties, £80,000. Property type, houses, advanced search options. In need of, all right, let's say most reduced. We don't want new homes and shared ownership and retirement homes. I'm going to press the search button. We have 7 listings. That's good. Just a short, quick number to choose from. Okay, we've got reduce at 20%, so that's good. Offers over. Okay, let's have a look at that. Okay, so it says here, hunters are now in receipt of an offer. Okay, so that means that someone's already offered on this property. So let's ignore that for the time being. Guide price just added. Okay, let's look at this. We want to see properties that look like we can do a lot to it and improve it. Okay. This one, let's deselect that. I think it looks too clean. This one, it's okay. We might choose this. This property. Okay, we shall hang on to it. The comparables might be good. Right, let's close that one. So what we've got here is this property. What I want to select, guys, is a property that is discounted from the done-up valuation, okay? So the guide price, it's at £64,000. Guide price means that that's the minimum they want to achieve if possible. I want to look at the comparables. Okay, 80,000, 65, 69. Price history. I think it was maybe being a bit too hopeful to want a price of 80,000. It's now reduced it by 16,000 to a guide asking price of 64. I am gonna say market stats, average sale price 120. Okay, how about guys, we use this property as the property for our exercise. Let's ignore the other two. Okay, so open up or use a piece of paper, doesn't matter. What we're gonna do here is this property is, what's the name? Oh, it's here. It is a 3-bed semi, Norton Road. Guide price doesn't necessarily mean the price that the buyer will accept. So what we're going to assume, okay, I'm going to give you this figure. We are going to assume that me as the property investor, I'm happy to pay 70,000 for this property, and the vendor says yes, they will accept it at 70,000. Okay, so it's going to be the purchase price. The refurb, as we've seen from the picture, needs more than the one from Cambridgeshire that we saw. So I am going to say, I as pretend that I am your boss and I'm giving you the figure. I am going to want to spend no more than 20,000 on this property for refurb cost. We are going to find out what the comparables are in terms of sold house prices and rent. Okay, average sale price is 119. Okay, average estimated value is 120,000. I'm gonna say, look, you know what? There's still the pandemic around. I don't want to be overly hopeful and say that the comparables for this one is 120,000. I am gonna say this property, when I refinance it in, let's say, a year's time, I don't think it's actually going to achieve what Zoopla says it should achieve. Zoopla says it, we think that this property is going to be worth 120,000. I think because of market conditions, actually, and I'm just going to be, what's the word? I'm just going to be a little bit more conservative, and I am going to say that it's actually only going to be worth 100,000. Okay. It says here average rent right now is 624. Again, I'm going to be a little bit conservative and just say £600. See all recent sales in S5. I want to double check my sold house price and go to Rightmove. I think I feel more confident using Rightmove for sold house prices. Nutton Road, Sheffield. Property types, that was a semi-detached. It's hard to say because these are close to 10 years ago. 83,000, 88, 90. I'm going to say 100,000. I think it's a fair estimate. Okay, it's 100,000. So, guys, use your calculators and we shall see if you and I will come up with the same answers. I'm going to stop my screen share for a second here so that when I do my calculations, you don't get to see it on my screen. I want you to do your own calculations, okay? So I've stopped my screen share. Okay, okay, there's a question here from Michelle. May I please have a look again, the formula under annual cash flow and rent, okay? So annual cash flow is just the cash flow multiplied by 12. Cash flow is the rent. So what did we say? For this property, the one in Sheffield S5 is a rent of £600, okay? The mortgage, oh yeah, we didn't calculate the mortgage, did we? Sorry guys, I'm just gonna tell you what the mortgage is. What did it say it was? Okay. So purchase price is 70,000, 25% deposit of 70,000, 17,500. So according to Zoopla's mortgage calculator, it's a rent of £222 per month. Okay, so assume a 10% monthly running cost of the rent. Okay, so you've got a rent of £600, so 10% of the rent to calculate an estimated monthly expense is £60. So to get the annual cash flow, you are going to multiply the monthly cash flow by 12. And to get the monthly cash flow, you need to know the rent that you're receiving. In this case, we're receiving £600 in rent. We deduct the mortgage amount, which we calculate. Okay, this is the actual mortgage amount might be different to this, but we're just doing some kind of pre-purchase calculations. The mortgage amount is 222. Okay, 222. The monthly expense, which is at 10% of 600, is 60. So we're gonna feed these figures into our calculators. Refurb cost is 20,000. Okay, guys, in case you didn't take a note of that. Okay, if you've got your answers, just type it in the chat box. How much is the done-up value? Okay, we agreed that the done-up valuation would be at £100,000. Okay, we were looking at sold house prices using Rightmove and using Zoopla. And according to Zoopla, it might achieve 120,000 for the general area of S5. However, we assume that because of market conditions, we don't want to be so optimistic and we actually want to be a bit conservative and say that the done-up valuation is only at £100,000. Okay, I have my calculations over here. So can I see, guys, what you arrived at as the ROI? $25.44 from Stephanie. Can I see a raise of hands from people who are needing a bit of guidance? Okay, if you've got any questions, guys, type it in the chat box so I can answer them. Girly asked, how much is the done-up valuation? It's 100,000. Okay, are we having difficulty, guys? Okay, it is possible that, okay, so this is all entirely recorded, so please feel free to go back to this lesson, replay it so that you can review how you calculate these things. The calculator should make things easier for you. Okay, calculations are easy to follow, but internet is bad due to the rains. Okay, yen is 25.44. Oh, you can't follow. Sorry, Christita. Okay. It's okay. I'm gonna have to move on shortly because we still have day 3's lesson to work out and to go through. So this is recorded, which means that you can always go back to this lesson to replay. Okay. Any other concerns or answers from anyone else? Okay, yield is 0.98. Okay, I wonder why. Okay, make sure you type in, yes, you can have a copy of the recorded video. Make sure that you type in the donut valuation at 100,000 yen. Rent. Okay, do you know what? You can unmute yourselves. Can you unmute yourself so you can ask me questions? Do I need to unmute? Okay. Yen, you can unmute yourself and then you can ask me.
Yeah, my done-up value is 100,000. That's correct. And
Mhm.
but I got the ROI calculation correctly. I'm not sure where I did wrong in terms of the yield. The annual rent is 7,200.
Okay,
Correct.
are any of your numbers in a negative? Because it looks like, because you
Yeah,
have
I negative 25. Money left in the deal is 25.44.
okay, so check your cells. If you go to done up valuation,
Mm-hmm.
it's 100,000. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Your rent, my formula is equal 600 multiplied by 12. So your formula is also 7,200. Sorry,
Yes.
your annual rent is also 7,200.
Yes.
You should have, because what it is it's that, and it's an easy figure to use as well because it's 100,000. So it's like by hundreds. So it's annual rent divided by done up valuation. by multiplied by 100 should be yield. So
Yeah.
I think you can just check your, it could be an Excel sheet problem. Okay, so do
Okay.
that. Okay.
I'm using Google Sheet actually. I don't have Excel, so but I'm not.
Um,
But I think
this
formula.
I'm using OneDrive, you know, Outlook, Microsoft's on it. It's a bit like Google. It's also
Mhm.
free. You might also want to be using that. I don't know. Okay, Michelle has a question. Deposit, how did it come up to 17.5? The deposit is the amount of the purchase price that the bank is not going to lend you money for. Okay, so right now in the UK, the average, so it might be different when you actually apply for a mortgage with a bank, but just in terms of doing a pre-purchase calculations, property investors like to use a 75% loan to value. That is to say, if it's going to cost you £100,000 to buy a property, the bank will lend you £75,000 of the purchase price. Okay, 75%, sorry, 75% of the purchase price. That means to say there's still a remaining 25% of the purchase price that is not paid for, because the bank will only lend you 75%. So what's remaining is 25%. 25% is generally what we assume to be the deposit amount that you need to fork up. So it doesn't matter if the property price is 100,000 or 1 million or 112,000. So whatever is the 25% of that is what we assume to be the deposit amount. Okay, Yen says road 27 to done up valuation. Okay, yes. I mean, you can use the equals formula on Excel, or you can just type in the done up valuation. I like to use the equal formula because then I don't need to type it twice and make mistakes. So if I typed in here the done up valuation, which is 100,000, then my formula will uh, catch that amount. Okay. Okay, so Yen's got the 7.2%. Okay, so Michelle says 25% of the purchase price. Yes, 25% of the purchase price. Okay. Um, when you look at the refinancing valuation, okay, so you've got here the remortgaging figures. It's also 75% of that valuation. So whatever the valuation is, the bank will never lend you right now. They used to, amazingly, but right now they will never lend you up to 100% of the price of the property. Okay. So you've got here, right? So, okay, I am going to assume we're happy with this, guys. I'm going to have to leave it for now. We'll take a 5-minute break, and then you can always go back to the recording and do the calculations, okay? What I'm going to do is for the purpose of everyone else who's joined the room kind of late, I am going to put in the download link again onto onto the chat box, and I hope that's it. So I'll see you guys here in 5 minutes, okay? Okay, guys, I've typed in the chat box a revised due diligence calculator. This time it includes a way to calculate the monthly cash flow. So I'm just going to share my screen briefly so you can see what changes I've made. You should now be able to see this box here that says cash flow, and you can type in the rental figure and the mortgage but it will automatically calculate the monthly expense, which I'm putting in at 10%. Okay, so for example, our rental figure is £600. Our mortgage was it 222? So it will now immediately calculate the monthly cash flow on that one. That means that when you do your ROI calculations, it will already calculate the cash flow. So the formula is equals to C34 multiplied by 12, that is 12 months. So C34 is this one multiplied by 12. So that's your cash flow. Whereas the yield, it will already automatically calculate for you the annual rent. So it's not cash flow, just annual rent, which is the box C31 multiplied by 12. Okay, so have a look at the chat. Have a look at the chat. Where am I? The chat box. You should be able to see the new file that I uploaded there. Okay, so you can replace the one that I sent earlier. So if you download that, I will resend all of these files again when I send you a copy of today's slides. So I hope we're okay with this now, guys. I am going to close the windows for doing the calculations, and instead we're going back to the slides for today.